Is it possible to buy a dirt cheap tax lien for as little as $474 that could be worth $100,000? Well, tune in and we're going to look at a secret tax deed auction that we found that has a property that could be worth $100K, even beyond, with literally sitting there right now, looks like for $474. So this could be very, very cool. Now, let's get the disclaimer out of the way right away. Because I know what you're thinking. If you're new to this stuff, you're thinking, oh, this sounds far-fetched. What is this guy talking about? If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. This is a racket. This is a gimmick. However, the cool thing about tax deed investing is most folks, think of how many people play in the lottery, right? Think of how much money they've wasted on lottery tickets. The cool thing with tax deeds is if you keep showing up, there's like 5,000 of these sales per year. And everybody that we know who consistently goes to tax deed sales, first off, on average, they get lots of good deals, sometimes 50, 60% below market value. But if you keep showing up, and in some of these smaller counties, sometimes there can be like unbelievable home run deals. So you have to show up though. If you don't try, you're 100% chance of losing. Now, let's just talk about what could happen. Could this get removed from the auction? Yes. There's a chance it might not even go up to the auction. There's a chance maybe it gets bid up to market value as well. Maybe there's a chance it goes for $50,000. However, there is also a chance that nobody bids on it. So with these tax deeds, you have to take action. You have to show up, and action will reward the profits will reward the action taker. I was going to say action will reward the action takers, but that's a strange play on words. But you guys hopefully know what I mean. But I just want to stress the importance of showing up, because I know people are going to tune in with all of their preconceived notion of like, oh, if this works so good, everybody would doing it. If it works so good, these guys wouldn't have a YouTube channel talking about it. So let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way right now. Yes, we have a YouTube channel. We teach folks how to do this the same way you like to make money in real estate. We like to make money too. It just so happened we made a couple videos over 10 years ago. They kind of went viral, and people like hearing from us. So we try to give the tax lien and deed industry the most free content that is out there. Below this video is a free mini course for everybody tuning in. If you never want to learn from us or spend money on our coaching and training, that's totally fine. We provide more free value than anybody else out there combined. But if you ever want to join us at an auction, you can do that. We can help you. And that's our agenda, calling a spade a spade. So let's tune in. Let's get Josh here and Corey with the brightest shirt in the game. How you guys doing?
Howdy. Good afternoon.
Doing well, hey, everybody.
Excellent. So let's just dive right into the goods. Show these guys a secret auction that's coming up that you were digging through the coal, through the elbow grease to find. And the other thing about this business is this is a game for people who want to roll up their sleeves and get into the action. Okay. You're right. If it were easy, everybody would do it. However, our goal is to save you years of trial and error. Now we're going to share our screen. And the thing to keep in mind for the Google AI and everything is we're showing public information. Everything we're showing here is public information available on county websites. It's for educational purpose. We're not exposing people's social security numbers and showing, all of this secret information. This stuff is all public online. So Josh, let's show these guys the secret auction. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat. And let us know who's here in the stream, who's tuning in, where you're tuning in from, your city, state, and name, and we'll tailor the stream here as we go. So let's party, Josh.
Okay, great. Party mode engaged.
Nice.
What we got here is the vault. This is at taxlienschool.com. Here's the vault. I just want to highlight something before we unpackage this a bit. And so here's Tennessee, and what Tennessee is a redeemable deed state. And so in Tennessee, it's going to take 1 whole year before you can actually get the property. So it is a deed state, but it takes 1 whole year. And so you may be thinking to yourself, I don't want to wait a whole year, so I'm going to look somewhere else. But what we do want to focus on are the outliers in these particular states. If it's a lien state, for instance, Arizona's a lien state, do they sometimes have deed sales? Or are there some auctions here where the redemption period is not a year? And so usually what happens at these particular kinds of sales that are different than the norm, the outliers, that's where you can get really crazy deals. And so we saw that happen in Indiana. There was a viral video that we posted about $2 pieces of land. And that was the same thing. Indiana, mostly it's a 1-year redemption, but at these commissioner sales, is what they were called, they were not advertised as well. Usually it's not with the county, it's county taxes, but it's not done by the county. It's usually done by a third party. And they're not advertised as well. So we have the same thing coming up in Tennessee. So you're in the right place at the right time, because there's actually a lot of time left still for this sale. So you can go ahead, you can get registered. Sometimes we talk about past results that were really good, but right now we're giving you an auction coming up that looks extremely promising. So this is an auction that's not the norm. This previously went to a tax sale and it was unsold. And so sometimes it's garbage, sometimes it's gold. And so it's up to us to determine what that is.
Josh, I think that's a tagline. You just came
Oh.
up with that. Sometimes it's garbage, sometimes it's gold.
Maybe sometimes it's a little of both. I guess one man's treasure is another man's trash. That's what they say. So we're going to start from scratch here. These are all of my windows, but we're going to try to replicate this from scratch so that you are able to follow along. And the first place we're going to go to is called GovEase. So it's govease.com. And we're going to click tax sale auctions. And so, great. Yeah. So it brings you to this section. We don't actually see it here. And that's why this is so special. That's why this is such a secret sale. So if we go to this page, we're not going to see it. So we're going to go back home. And I got to say, was it this button? Yes. Okay. So we have to get into a different platform, a different part of the website. Otherwise, it's not going to come up. So I just did what I did. If you miss it, you got to go back. But up here, we're going to click. And so we know this is for Tennessee. And so the upcoming sale is Tennessee Madison Special Commissioner Sale. So anytime you see anything like that, special commissioners, or just a sale that's outside of the norm, you definitely want to pay attention. This means it's not the regular sale. So in Madison County, they're going to have their regular sale, 1-year redemption period. This is not it. So there is only one, but we're also going to show you where there's other Tennessee special commissioner sales. We're going to highlight this one because this actually looks like a really good deal. And so right now we don't have much information to go off of. So if you're brand new to this, you might look at this and think, okay, I don't really know what we're looking at here. We're going to dig in. We're going to dive in. So here we actually have got a physical address. It says 180 Sells Road. We don't have anything else though, other than really the primary owner, and that the sale is January 7th. So you do have time to prepare. You got time to register and get set up with GovEase. So looking at it, it says true value $0. So that can't be right, right? So let's have a look. There is a hyperlink here for a notice. So there's just a little bit of information on the property. This is just a legal description, but holy Moses, look at that. 2.96 acres right there. So 2.96 acres, in a community where there's houses is worth a lot more than 2.96 acres in the middle of the desert where the closest road is 100 miles away. And so we got to determine that and figure out what's going on here. The other question is we're not seeing an opening bid. So we just want to find out, okay, if this is going to go for the back taxes, what are the back taxes? And so we're not going to use anything special, just a regular tax collector website from the county. This isn't a secret website. You don't need to have special permission, no extra login information. So we're just going to go Madison County Tax Collector. Nothing special here. Got to make sure we're in Tennessee though. There's a lot of Madison counties, I bet. There it is. You can see I clicked on it before. Nothing special here. We don't have any special information. And I want to see about the back taxes on this particular parcel. So I'm going to go property tax payment. I'm going to look at it right here. And I'm going to type in the address. 180. What was that? Let me go back and grab that again. 180 Sells Road. And so nothing private. This is all public data, public information. And we can see the balance. So we got the balance here. It is $424. And so you can see there's an unpaid amount and a delinquent amount. So we just have got, $424 is what the county is looking to collect on this piece of land. So let's take it a little bit further. We got to figure out where this is, what it is, and what we're looking at. So the easiest way is to actually go regrid.com. We're also going to go up here, 180 Sells Road in Tennessee. And here it actually is. So I'm going to show you Zillow, 2.95 acres. Zillow's got it at $42,000. I'm going to go ahead and show you it on Realtor. Realtor's got it for 133, no, 118. So much higher. Then Redfin has got it for $150,000. So the question is there a mobile home there? Is there not a mobile home there? Now, what you could do is you could try to find this on Google, but I have a feeling that's not going to work. Let's take a peek. Or if it does work, perhaps it's going to be a bit outdated, just using the old Street View. So this is from February 2024. Now, I got to tell you, if this is still there a year and a half later, more or less, then this is a really good deal. But the thing is that even if it's not there, this is 2.96 acres in Tennessee, and the back taxes are $424. So there's two things that come to mind. The first is that this previously went to an auction, and the county is just looking for $424, and nobody bought it. So automatically, I'm going to put this in the back of my mind that I want to pay attention to the next sale that Tennessee has in Madison County, because this is looking like a really good deal. And so I want to highlight this spot. And the next time they have an auction, I want to be there because this is looking pretty good. From what I can understand, $424, so maybe a little bit of interest and a little bit of penalties. Even if we double it, we're still under $1,000. 2.96 acres, which is wild. And so that makes me think this is a really good deal. You would want to drive it. The thing is, you could actually even buy this sight unseen. If $1,000 is going to get you 2.96 acres, that is a really good deal. So here's the area. Here's the space. We could also check Zillow and just see what's going on Zillow, do a little bit of market analysis, because we do have such a huge gap here. We're looking at maybe 150K, 118K. So what do we see in this area? If we're just looking around, what's the market like? What's going on? We can just use Zillow, see if there's anything happening. So we got $370,000 for a house. That's pretty high ticket price. $480,000 for something else. I wonder if there's anything under contract, anything pending. Have a look around some more. 17K for 1.44 acres. Okay, so if it's just land, okay, maybe it's worth $30,000. So $424, $30,000, insane deal. Maybe there's a mobile home on it. That's going to be pushing it, 150. Here's 120 grand for 11 acres. These are some high ticket prices though. So $424 potentially is the opening bid. The registration is open today, and the auction is, I had it. There it is, January 7th. So there's enough time that you could go ahead, and if you're in the area, you could drive this. You could find someone to drive it for you. You could go ahead and just try to get it for the value of the land. And then if there's a mobile home on it, just a huge bonus. But what an incredible opportunity. What an incredible auction. Stuff like this, these kinds of auctions are where properties literally sell for pennies on the dollar. So you don't want to miss it. And the thing is that it's usually the people who take action that actually get results. There's been a lot of times we've done streams like this, and we've seen people literally call the county right away. And so this one is an upcoming auction. You got to make sure that you get yourself registered, go through all of the bells and whistles and the hoops that the county has to make sure that you can bid. But this is looking like a really good property, a really good deal, and I wouldn't want to miss this.
Nice. Yeah, this is the fun of the game we're here to play. And for anybody wanting to get into real estate to, maybe buy some property to help you with your retirement or residual income, this is an arbitrage that exists that allows you to get some property that otherwise might not be attainable. And the fun thing about tax deeds is the fact that, they're all different price ranges. You can buy some cheap over-the-counter stuff for as little as a couple $100. You can buy more expensive properties for 50, 100,000. There's opportunity to get on the train at each stop. And it's also an opportunity for you to put in some elbow grease to make some money in real estate and create wealth. The cheaper the property, the more elbow grease you will put in. But at least there's an on-ramp for real estate investing that allows you to get in the game, kind of no matter where you're at. Now, you do need to put in a little bit of time, a little bit of effort into this, and that's really what we're all about here, is helping everybody get started. So if you guys have a question, let's get the questions going in the side chat. Let us know who's tuning in, your name and your city and state, and we will tailor the live stream as we go to try to help you as best as possible here. And once again, for everybody tuning in, the easiest way to start right after this is to download the free directory, open it up to the state you're interested in, give them a call. So for example, if it's Polk County, Florida, which I just randomly opened to, call them up, say, hey, when's the tax deed auction? They'll give you the date. Then you ask, what's left over? Can I get the list? And then you're in the game. All you got to do, download it, open it. It is free. And then follow along with this step by step. So we're here to try to help. And if you already have the ABCs and you want to basically deep dive as fast as possible, you can schedule a call and we can talk to you one-on-one, and maybe you can come join us at an auction, or we can just show you where to go based on your exact budget and what you want to do. So all of that is in the description there below. So yeah, let's dive into the chat. Let's get that going. Is tax liens in Colorado a good idea? Corey, were you looking into Colorado a while back, or was that you, Josh?
Yeah, they switched the way they work in Colorado. So they used to be just kind of tax liens that you would then buy, and then you could, and then I believe you could then foreclose on it. But since I believe it was July 2025, so it was this year, they switched it to the similar model of Florida. So you can buy the tax lien, but then you have to apply for it to go to a tax deed. From what I know, we haven't looked a ton into specifically into Colorado since the shift, but that's kind of what we're seeing now. And it could be different in certain counties, but that's kind of how it shifted. So it could be a good idea. It just depends on if you want your money held up for a while or not, which is kind of the whole thing with tax liens anyway. So
got it. Good question there. And yeah, remember, places like Florida and now Colorado. So a big benefit of tax liens is the fact that if they don't redeem, you can foreclose and get a property for literally pennies on the dollar. And the math on a tax lien is this: is 95% of the time, hands-free, you're going to get an interest rate. However, 5% of the time, you will end up getting the property. So what that means is 1 in 20 properties you're going to end up owning. So for example, in most tax lien states, if you bought, say, 20 $1,000 first position tax liens at, say, even 8% interest, maybe you're in Arizona, what would happen is you're going to get 8% interest on $19,000. Not too bad, considering banks are paying pretty much nothing. And also considering banks probably have some of your money in tax liens as it is, as they're one of the largest investors in tax liens. But if these are $1,000 tax liens on, say, houses that are $100,000, then you're going to end up being able to get one property valued at $100,000. So because you bought the first year lien, you'd pay out the second two. So now you're into it for $3,000. Then you hire a attorney to foreclose. Now you're into it for $5,000, and you can have yourself a $100,000 property for around $5,000. You can sell it. You can do whatever you like with that. So let's see. We got Houston, Texas here. Good to see you. Auctions in New Jersey. Josh, didn't we talk about New Jersey last week? Was it?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. We could check, see if there's some auctions coming up in New Jersey, because I think there's some stuff happening pretty soon here.
Nice. So what Josh has on his screen here, Josh, can you just pop the tab taxlienschool.com? So for anybody who wants to get into this, we've tried as hard as possible to create the best free resource for tax lien and deed investors. So if you come to Tax Lien School and you click on the Knowledge Vault, you will land on this page here, which is totally interactive, free map for everybody. There's thousands of articles. Everybody should take a screenshot of this and have it on your phone so you know what are the tax deed states, tax lien states. There is a free auction map below it. Everybody can see a week there. This is the industry pillar for free information on tax lien and deed investing. So we have a whole team and army behind this to bring you guys information to help you out. So you can go to Tax Lien School, poke around, and we literally built it for you guys, but then we use it for ourselves as well because it works so good. So let's check it out, Josh.
Just got to log in here. Maybe not in Safari. Here, give me a minute and I'll pull it up here and we can
Sure.
take a look at New Jersey a little bit.
So as Josh brings this up, we're going to look at New Jersey here in a moment. And New Jersey is a bit of an interesting duck. Corey, I know you've also looked into it before. Can you just kind of explain a little bit of the unique process of New Jersey?
Yeah, sure. So New Jersey, from the counties that we've looked into, and so there's a chance that there's counties like in New Jersey that are different, but let's just speak in broad terms for now. They go based off what's called a premium bid. And so in a tax deed, for instance, if you go to a tax deed sale, you're bidding up the property to the price that you eventually win it for. In generally with a tax lien, you sort of bid how much, usually the percentage of what you want it to return at. But with a premium bid, it's very interesting where you bid the percentage, but there's then also what's called the premium bid. So you can actually bid money on top of what your interest rate will be. And it takes a little bit more math to kind of figure out what makes sense. So what a lot of people will do is or like a lot of big investors, like if it's a good property, they'll actually bid a premium over what the tax lien percentage is because they're just hoping that's going to win the property. And so I don't know enough about the specifics on how those big investment firms work, if they can write off that excess, but in certain cases, you actually don't get that premium back if you win or if you lose. If you win it, you don't get that premium back if the property then redeems. And so it gets a little bit, there's like a lot of moving pieces there. And so we definitely don't recommend people start with that in New Jersey in the premium bid, but it is something if you like numbers and like figuring out math stuff, it can be profitable. You just need to know what you're doing before you get into it. So.
Perfect.
Nice. Thank you, Corey. So I got some good news. Where is that question again? Yes, right there. Yeah. And so do always put questions in the video because we do look at the questions. We will filter or base content off of it. So if you're watching a replay of this, always go ahead, post questions in here because we do read them. And so this is looking like pretty good timing. There's one coming up here on the 30th. And so this is super close to New Year's, of course. And a lot of people actually start checking out pretty much from the 24th until the 1st. You see this gap right here, 24th to the 1st? And so surprisingly, there's a few auctions that are happening in this pocket, which is a really dead season as far as like people working or attending auctions. And so we've got a tax deed auction in Minnesota. That's looking pretty great. This is on publicsurplus.com. So it's actually online, which is great. And so for this one, this is also an online auction. So anybody can participate in these, which is great. And then we also got Union City as well, which is super close to Christmas. So just a few days away. Wow, is that a Sunday? No, that's a Monday.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm tracking with the calendar now. I was like, a sale on a Sunday. However, this one in Minnesota is on a Saturday. That's pretty wild. So, I mean, this is a really, really good time to get into the business because let's say a county has auctions that are monthly. They're happening, every month. Usually January and December are always the best months for auctions. And so in January 2025, so, 11 months ago, it was the lowest amount of people that we've seen at a sale in Texas. And so it's just, most people don't do stuff early January, late December. So this is a perfect time to attend, get into the business, and come to the vault. And anytime there's a holiday season or there's a time period where people check out or people relax and they party and they don't work, that could be a really good opportunity. So for New Jersey, you've got City of Hudson County and you've got Ewing, Mercer County. And then, of course, even Virginia as well on the 31st, which is pretty sweet. I think, that one is just a little bit, I think there's multiple auctions for this one, but then you also got, the 27th. This could be really good. So check it out because there's some good stuff right now.
Nice. Looks like some folks joining the stream. Welcome everybody. Put in any questions that you might have, and we'll dive into them. here today. So appreciate everybody hopping on. Let's see. Yeah, New Jersey. We got Houston here. We got Uncle Billy. What's happening? Good to see you. Appreciate the kind words from everybody. Let's see. Located in San Diego. So yeah, San Diego. Man, once again, Josh, did we have something come up in San Diego a while back, or am I just mixing everything together?
We had a second sale in Los Angeles. So I mean, it's like an hour away. Might as well be San Diego.
Yeah, like it's there's a lot of sales in those areas. I think Los Angeles is twice a year. And when you're doing tax deeds, anything within a few hour drive should be fair game for you guys. That's your hunting territory in your backyard. So San Diego is going to be a bit unique because it's obviously a big desirable area. That being said, if an area is competitive and it's your own backyard, it doesn't mean you shouldn't check it out and see what's going on and see what you can learn. If you want to make money in this, the biggest mistake we see is people just give up in the sense of like, oh, I live in San Diego and everything gets bid up here to market value. So then they give up. But we're dealing with a tool that can help you create wealth for yourself, make money, secure your retirement, perhaps your kids' future. Give this stuff a little bit of time, a little bit of elbow grease, treat it like a sport. This should be a practice in your backyard, a practice game. You look at how many folks know all of the stats about sports teams on cities that they've never been to. They know, that person's stats, their scores, their strengths, their weaknesses, and they've never been to that city, but they know the individual players. So if you put a fraction of that effort into this business of, hey, you know what? There's an auction in my backyard. Treat it like a game day. Oh, I'm going to research it. I'm going to get the stats, instead of learning the stats on the basketball player or football player, you're going to learn the stats on that auction and you're going to develop your intelligence in this business so that you can apply it and make money is the name of the game. So just put in a little bit of effort and you can get a lot of results. The big thing though is we kind of are in a world these days where, it's funny, the more instant gratification we have in the world, the more unhappy and broke people are. It's this amazing dichotomy, right? Like if you were to go back in time and show your great grandpa this like magical box that has unlimited intelligence, you can get food delivered, you can find a wife on it, I found my fiance on this little box. You can talk to it, all of these things. And they'd probably be like, wow, everybody in the future must be just happy, in shape millionaires, right? When really it's just the opposite. Everybody's more out of shape than ever, more disconnected, more miserable, more broke. And it's it's quite the dichotomy. And I have a theory that we've trained ourselves to put in less effort. So if you guys can just put in a little bit of effort, a little bit of elbow grease, and be okay if you get some setbacks or some failures, meaning you go to an auction, maybe the properties are bid up. Maybe your property doesn't even show up at the auction. That's okay. Maybe you have to go to 4 or 5 before you get a property. For myself, I went to a tax deed training and 2 days later, I bought a property and I was hooked on the business. For some of you, you might get a property right after this live stream. It happens. We see people all the time. And if you have got a property, please put in the comments the type of property you got, because folks often watch and comment on the properties they've picked up. But what I'm really trying to hammer home here is, this is a game of some elbow grease, a little bit of effort. We can't promise results, but what we can promise is if you stick to it, can get some good deals. Let's see here. Columbus, there land banks that kind of operate like OTC land banks. Too many stipulations. Now we've done Hamilton. Did we ever go to the Columbus sale, Josh?
We got one thing in Columbus before. Yeah. I think here's what I would say about that. I'm just gonna throw up the old Google Maps here and throw up Columbus, Ohio. Okay. So here's what I would say. And yeah, great question about the land banks. And so a lot of times land banks are going to have stipulations. And what they're looking to do is take county held property, and they want someone who's going to be able to either A, fix it up, or B, do something with the land, revitalize it, get it back into the community, and have a plan. And so a lot of times they actually want someone who's got experience. And if you haven't done a flip before, they might not sell the property to you. And so each county is going to be a bit different, and each state's a bit different as well with the land banks. And so sometimes the land banks, they just get leftover property. Sometimes it's over the counter and the county holds on to it and they release a few to the land bank. So you have all of those different kinds of scenarios. And so what you could do is, if you're in Columbus, is you could actually just start looking at the counties that are around you. And so, I think probably like this, this kind of square I'm doing, or rectangle, I think this is about an hour and a half. Yeah, Columbus to Dayton is about an hour and a half, more or less. And so you could just be cherry picking whichever county around you has got the least barrier to entry with the land bank, because not every land bank is going to operate the same way. Some land banks are actually just happy to get properties out of their inventory back on like the tax roll, collecting taxes, because usually those properties are not collecting taxes. And so, yeah, some places are really strict. They've got a huge barrier to entry. And so just shop around, and you can go ahead, put a little bit of elbow grease in, as we mentioned before, and find the pockets around you that are good, that are easy. Because we see people do that all the time. They'll say to us, "Hey, I tried this place. It's they don't have great OTCs," but then they go to the county next door and it's a gold mine. So
Josh,
yeah, shop around.
he's saying every land bank in Ohio appears to have its own personality.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So not everybody is going to follow the same path, and not everybody is going to require you to have experience or require you to jump through a whole bunch of hoops. But there's different hoops, and so if the hoop is it's just a long process, that's a lot better than someone trying to prove, what they're going to do with the property and what their skill set is and things like that. And so, yeah, I would just go around here, look at the counties around you, and find one that is desirable.
Nice, good stuff. Yeah, that's the name of the game, right? A lot of people go around, they do garage sailing, they go antiquing, and most of those people, it's fun, you can make some money, but with this stuff, for the same amount of time and effort, you could be using it to create full-time income with part-time effort, which is super cool if you stick to it. So let's see here, we got Byron here out in Las Wages, Nevada.
Yeah, man, the house always wins.
House always wins, but yeah, good stuff, guys. So, we're finishing the year up, and I would love to see everybody finish the year strong by planting seeds in this business and doing a lot of deals next year, or even getting a deal here before the year ends. There's a lot of properties that are like literally available now that you could go and buy. So, the big thing comes down to the effort to get into this business. Like I say, we try to, like, everything you guys need to get started is here on this channel, on Tax Lien School. When you combine it with the book, everything is here. Like, we give away as much free information as humanly possible to help you get started. So, I know there's probably two types of folks watching. Like, everything you want to learn how to do is for free online, right? But it kind of comes back to, if you want to learn physics, if you want to learn how to be super six-pack man or strong, it's all there. But once again, everybody learns in different ways. And if it were as simple as just having knowledge, we'd all be super shredded billionaires building rockets and solving complicated math problems. But so decide where you're at. If you want to grab this information right now and run with it, or, like I give the example of myself, I went to the 3-day seminar, and at the seminar, I met a guy. He's like, "Hey, come meet me in Washington in 2 days, and I'll help you look at properties." So, I met him there. His name was Bob, and we looked at properties. He showed me the ins and outs of the business in person. And even when the auction came, and I'd been there with an expert who had done this lots, I was terrified to bid. I just spent 3 days in a classroom. I just spent a couple of days with a guy doing it. And I was absolutely terrified. And when the property came up, it was 40 acres, $4,200 opening bid. He's like, "Dustin, get this property." Grabbed my hand and just held it up, and I got the property. It was worth 40 grand. We sold it for 20 and I never looked back. But for myself, you know, that's like threading a needle, because if that person wouldn't have done that for me, I don't even know where I would have been, you know, like I probably wouldn't have had maybe the motivation to go to an auction again the next month. That's what I needed. So, you know, if you're in that camp and you want to go deeper with stuff with hand holding, we offer that. So that's in the description below. You can schedule a free call with us. We could help you one-on-one get a deal in the next 30 days, or you could come join us at an auction if you want. So we do offer that as well. If not, we're just glad you tuned in. So make sure to hit the thumbs up if you like this, subscribe, and we'll do everything we can to help. So on that note, we'll wrap it up here on this one, keep it a bit shorter, and we'll let you guys dive in. So thanks for tuning in, everybody.